my op-ed today over at HartmannReport.com. My daily take is titled Operation Epstein Fury. Is this about national security or political survival? And, this is, a bonus. First of all, this is, Bibi Netanyahu has been arguing for this forever, right? Netanyahu is, has been accused of multiple crimes, including bribery and, corruption in office. And the only way he stays out of jail is by getting reelected as prime minister. So this is, and people are really pissed that back on October 7th, Netanyahu had not, in fact, had pulled some of the defenses out for the communities, right around Gaza, leading to that whole, the Hamas attack. So, this is, in Bibi's mind, this is the thing that's going to keep him out of jail. For Donald Trump, I believe that he thinks this is the thing that's going to get the Epstein files off the front page, and to a large extent, he's right. War is always, always serves as a benefit in that direction. This morning, they're giving a Medal of Honor to a fellow who died in the war, and Trump starts out by lying, saying, I blew up the JCPOA, the Iran deal, and it was a terrible deal negotiated by Barack Hussein Obama. And, Iran would have had a nuclear weapon, and used it against us These are complete lies. Trump is also, he's provided no excuse for us to attack Iran now. And the War Powers Resolution of 1973 that was passed, in the wake of Nixon, the war and the 72 election, where Nixon said he had a secret plan to end the war, and it turned out, he lied. We discovered that after the election was over. That requires an attack on the United States, or an imminent attack, evidence of an imminent attack, a Pearl Harbor kind of event. There is no such thing. Iran does not have nuclear weapons. Iran is not developing nuclear weapons. Iran was negotiating in good faith. Now, let me be very clear here. I'm no fan of the Iranian government or of the former Ayatollah Khamenei. This is an insane, theocratic, end times. They believe this, this Islamic version of the rapture kind of thing. It's just all very, very strange. Doing away with the Ayatollah, not necessarily a bad thing, but the way it was done, the timing of it being done, and who did it are frankly, in my opinion, all wrong. You've got Trump now violating international law. The UN's, our membership in the UN requires us not to attack other countries. We violated that law with Venezuela as well, not to attack other countries or engage in regime change wars unless we've been attacked first. It's a violation of domestic U.S. law. He's, as I said, he's violating the War Powers Resolution. And now he's throwing Iranian protesters under the bus by saying that he's willing to negotiate with the Iranians. Now the Iranians are saying, no, we're not willing to talk to you. The conflict is also spreading. Khomeini was to Shia Muslims around the world sort of like what the Pope is to Catholics. Now, he wasn't quite, as unified and all that, but Shia Islam is different from Sunni Islam. Sunni Islam is, most of the Arab states are Sunni. The Sunnis there's no centralized command structure. There's no Pope. In Shia Islam, the Grand Ayatollah has been filling the role of essentially Pope. Now, can you imagine how the Catholic world would respond if say, Russia killed the Pope, Pope Leo? This is why you're seeing protests now, erupting in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, in Lebanon. I'm waiting to see them pop up in other places like in Southeast Asia. But the conflict is spreading. And here at home, Trump is musing about using Iranian election interference in the 2020 election to seize control of our election apparatus this fall. And what's particularly ironic about that is, yes, Iran did intervene in the 2020 election. They sent emails to millions of registered Democrats basically saying, if you don't vote for Donald Trump, we're going to get you. We're the Proud Boys. And the Proud Boys were like, we didn't send that out. And the effort was designed to help Donald Trump because the Iranians, this was the 2020 election, the Iranians believed that a Biden presidency or, back in 2016, a Clinton presidency would be bad for them. Those people are fairly tough. They wanted Trump. They figured that, they could work things out with Trump. Yeah, right. Now we've got 4 Americans dead, 5 in critical condition, more than 200 young people. I mean, we have struck we or Israel, one or the other, struck a girls' school, over 150 girls dead. And then we struck a gymnasium in Iran, killed a whole bunch of young people there too. And this is early days. As Winston Churchill said, once the signal is given, no one can predict how far events will go. James Madison kind of foresaw this. This was back in April of 1790. He wrote a letter, and he said, of all the enemies of public liberty, war is perhaps the most to be dreaded because it comprises and develops the germ of every other. He talks about how the discretionary power of the president is increased. Quote, its influence in dealing out offices, honors, and emoluments is multiplied, and all the means of seducing the minds are added to those of subduing the force of the people. He says the same malignant aspect in republicanism can be traced to inequality of fortunes, which war provides. No nation, says James Madison, can preserve its freedom in the midst of continual warfare. And yet, here we are. So, this is just wrong. He is in violation of the War Powers Resolution. He's in violation of United States law. He's in violation of international law. And this is going to get uglier and uglier. I'll give you more details in just a few minutes. But in my opinion, the appropriate response to this is for Congress to impeach Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump as soon as possible. What say you?